joined once again by Dr. Chandler James, Assistant Professor of Political Science at the University of Oregon. First of all, Chandler, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Zach. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, happy to have you. Now, we've got a lot to talk about. We'll start on the national level. We just watched the package with the Hegseth hearings. And if your social media looks anything like mine this morning, it's flooded with these combative questions and answers back and forth during these kind of confirmation hearings. Saw the same thing during Supreme Court confirmations. How much impact do these questions have on the eventual vote to confirm or not?
Well, they used to matter a lot more before the 60-vote threshold was removed in the mid-2000s. Now that you can get a nominee to the Supreme Court or a cabinet nominee approved with just a bare majority in the Senate, all you really need to do if you're a candidate is to persuade the co-partisans to support you if they're in the majority.
Yeah, the party in control basically has the say in this end of the day. Now, we can move now to local ideas because we got a lot coming up here in local politics. The first legislative session of the year is going to start in just about a week, and the State of the State just occurred earlier this week with Governor Tina Kotek outlining her main goals going into 2025. No surprise to many people that housing was one of those main topics. And as we take a look at that, what kind of moves can politicians make on the local level, on the state level, to incentivize affordable housing developments and things that might help to finally curb this housing crisis?
It's clear, yeah, we have a housing crisis here in America as well here as in Oregon. Yeah. Some of the things that we can do is change zoning restrictions. Oftentimes there are zoning laws that prevent building in certain areas or certain types of building in areas, and that could lead to a lack of construction in areas where there's a need for housing. We should incentivize the development of affordable housing, and really, I think the main thing is make housing more dense in cities and places like that. So build up so that we can have a lot more housing in areas to kind of alleviate the housing shortage.
Does that create public challenges for politicians at the state level? Because I think at times, especially in places like Eugene, building up can scare some people off. Does that create a hurdle to be able to maybe curb public opinion in order to eventually do that dense housing strategy?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like single-family housing, so that's one kind of major hurdle. People love to live in their houses and have a yard. Yeah. Another thing is just the amount of money and tax incentives. In order to support development like this, oftentimes you need to invest a sizable portion of money in order to incentivize developers to build up and create affordable housing. And so some of the things that I've seen is this mixed use approach where you have some affordable housing and then some market-based housing, which can provide developers an opportunity to make a profit while also supporting low income.
We've seen evidence of that here on some of the developments along the riverside, where you have some maybe 1/4 of the development ends up being affordable housing. So you see that potentially having some success in the state?
Yeah, I think that's been successful in lots of other places, and it could really help to develop a thriving downtown Eugene. So I would support that here in Eugene.
Absolutely. Now, another topic that has been a goal, a main priority of Governor Tina Kotek, and remains that, is things with regards to education, improving our overall education scores. And she had a little bit of controversy surrounding one of the ideas that she pitched, and that was tying education funding to some proof in results. How does something like that work? What kind of evidence would she need to see from the school districts across the state to make sure that they are continuing to get funding? And does this create a slippery slope about maybe holding back funding while waiting for results?
So it's kind of controversial because oftentimes the metrics that are used to determine whether or not a local district has made substantial progress is through testing, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't want teachers to be teaching toward a test, but at the same time, we want to make sure that our students can read and do math and are capable, and so you have to find a balance. And oftentimes, the places with the lowest scores are often the places that need the most help. And so when you have situations like this or kind of structures like this, you want to make sure that it doesn't punish schools that need the most help.
Now, is there a precedent for this? Do other states do things like that where they make sure that people or districts are reaching certain levels in order to get more funding? Is this something that happens elsewhere?
Yeah, this was actually something that happened in the No Child Left Behind Act, and then the kind of changes that Obama made when he became president. So this is a common practice, But I think that the thing is that we really want to invest in our local schools. And one of the things is that Oregon kind of systematically underfunds the school system by its own metrics. And so we want to make sure that with this, if we are going to invest, that there are some results. So this is, I think, a good balance. And the key is just getting it right, making sure that that the right metrics are used.
That right part. It's a loaded word, isn't it? Now,
Right.
we are, like I said, just about a week away from that first legislative session. You going to spend any time in Salem once lawmakers are there? And what are you looking forward to this term?
Well, I'm interested to see how this budget plays out with respect to infrastructure and spending for schools at the K through 12 level and higher education. So at the higher ed level, the Oregon is also underinvesting, and so we get a lot less money relative to places like California or Michigan or Wisconsin.
Sure.
And I'm interested to see how the state funds our education system, because it is our future.
Absolutely. Now, a whole lot to look forward to here at the local and national political level. And as you know, every Wednesday, Dr. James will be right here with us to break it all down, talk about what impacts it actually has on you at home, because it can be so complicated without someone much smarter than me in the building to make sure we can explain it. Dr. James, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Zach, you're too nice.
Hey, I got to keep you around, so we'll keep buttering you up. Not a problem. Thank you for joining us, Dr. James. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
All right.